Stephen A. Smith calls the Dallas Cowboys an atrocity. So we're going to be going to that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. And thank you again for BetUS for powering today's video.
All right, Shannon, was the Cowboys' loss to the Saints shocking?
It was how they lost. You know, all losses aren't created. You know, everybody says, you know, a loss is a loss. But the home opener, and you know, we always show, ESPN always show like the fans waiting to get into AT&T Stadium. Stephen A., you made a mistake. You talk about Alice, Texas. You need to move those 2 L's. You need to start, the A is correct, but move them 2 L's and put some S's there. Because boy, that was on the, what? And I ask you, Stephen, I say, Stephen A., can we give it a week or two for that defense? Because I really would have liked to see them go against some starting tackles. I say, and the offense, I'm not, because Dak didn't have the greatest game last week. Had some short fields, they got a punt return for a touchdown. I say, but I need to see a little more. The defense got after me. We know how the Cowboys are. They're front run now. They get you down, and they get in a situation where they know you can't run the football, and those ends can run up the field on you. Oh, they can have you in a world of hurt. But the thing that's bugged the Cowboys over the last 5 or 6 years is their inability to stop the run. If you go in there, you look at the teams that have beat them. Stephen A., what could all the teams do? Run the football. What gives them a problem when they play the 49ers? 49ers can run the football. Green Bay, and that debilitating, that crushing playoff loss last year. What did Aaron Jones do? Run the ball down their throat. You remember a couple of years ago, the Arizona Cardinals, the Cleveland Browns. You go back and study them. Their inability to consistently stop the run has been a problem. And then on the flip side, they can't run it. Now, they're going to be in a world of hurt unless they start to be able to run the football a lot better, because you're going to put a lot of pressure on Dak and CeeDee. They need a number 2 guy. Tolbert is going to have to step up. Brandon Cooks is good here and there, but they need a consistent number 2 that can step up, because the New Orleans Saints said, we refuse to let CeeDee Lamb beat us. They started doubling him, and the other guys couldn't consistently get open. I'm not surprised the Cowboys lost. I think, but everybody's surprised in the fashion in which they lost.
Very, very nice of you. Because I have to admit, on this particular morning, you're being very, very nice. I mean, you really, really are. And to be quite honest with you, it's a bit soft on your part, okay? First of all, fix your tie, straighten out your tie, move it a little bit to the left, you'll be all right. Here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. The Dallas Cowboys were awful, and this is a rarity. We can't blame this loss on Dak Prescott at all. This ain't about Dak Prescott and the offense. They scored on 4 of their first 5 drives, although 3 were field goals, and they got some red zone issues. We got that part, okay? Plus, it doesn't help that your running backs, Ezekiel Elliott, Dowdle, and Deuce Vaughn, are averaging collectively about 3.5 yards per carry. Yeah, they got to do better. We understand it. But this ain't about the offense. This ain't a discussion today about Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys offense. They were put in a bad spot. The New Orleans Saints scored on their first 6 drives. All of them were touchdowns. Let me give it to you right here. Touchdown drives, 80 yards, 70, 70, 70, 20, and 69. I'm like, damn. I mean, look at your face, Dan. Look at your face, Dan Orlovsky. I mean, look at your face, Shannon. I mean, that's some hard stuff to stomach, okay? Can we just be honest about that? I'm gonna go at it again. We've seen average teams. We know that average teams exist in the NFL. On many, many occasions, they exist. Everybody can't be great. If somebody great, somebody ain't, okay? We got that part. Here's the problem. I'm gonna say it again. To hurt Dan Orlovsky's feelings, to let up there and let him have his face cringing again. 80, 70, 70, 70, 20, and 69. Five of the 6 drives with 69 yards or more. Damn.
With week 3 almost here, now is one of the perfect times to put a bet on the Dallas Cowboys, and we're going to be going to total game under 48.5, and this one is for less. So we're going to put $10 on this bet, but guys, don't forget to check out BetUS. You know, when it comes to anything betting, they actually have a great deal on right now where it's actually 150% on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. So make sure to use that. But while we're talking about that, I'm going to place this bet for $10, and we are looking looking good for this one. So guys, don't forget to check out BetUS. Like I said, code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. The second story is that the Cowboys are facing a prove-it week versus the Ravens, says Micah Parsons. Now, the Dallas Cowboys edge player Micah Parsons is expecting a different mindset when the Dallas Cowboys play the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday after last week's 25-point loss to the New Orleans Saints. To me, it's like prove-it week, Parsons said. I'm not just putting into anything on any of my teammates, I'm saying myself included. Like, I need to step up. We all need to step up. It would hurt me more if we didn't go all and step up, and if we all play down to the standards again, because that just tells me we're not moving in the right direction and that we should be moving in. The Cowboys came into week 2 after a dominating performance against the Cleveland Browns in the opener, but the Saints scored touchdowns on their first 6 possessions. They finished with 190 yards rushing, and Alvin Kamara scored 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 receiving immediately after the game. Parsons questioned the effort of the defense on Monday. Head coach Mike McCarthy said New Orleans beat the Cowboys to the punch, and defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer took the blame for the showing. At some point, all 11 got to have the same mindset, and that's just toughness, Parsons said. You talk about who you want to be and all that other stuff, but you've got to go out there and be it. And it can't just be one guy. It can't be 2 guys. It's all 11 guys. It takes everyone. I affect the linebackers, the linebackers affect the DBs, and we aren't all synchronized. One group setting, getting, and even effed up, then another group going to get effed up. It's a synchronized chain. So at the end of the day, it's all about toughness and having mentality like I'm going to dominate the main in front of me. Not all 11 had that last week. The Ravens come to A&T Stadium winless after 2 games, but with the 7th-ranked run offense. Derrick Henry had 79 of his 84 yards and a touchdown in the second half of last week's loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. When the Cowboys last played the Ravens in 2020, quarterback Lamar Jackson ran 94 yards and a touchdown in a 34-17 win against Dallas. Parsons said Baltimore will come into the game looking for redemption after their start. Like I just said, toughness, step up, ain't no other choice, Parsons said. Derrick Henry is going to come downhill like it or not. So it's not like a matter of are you going to stop it, it's just are you going to do it or not. I know I'm ready for the matchup. I'm just always coming down on Sunday and if you're going to live up to it or not. Now on top of that, the Cowboys do send Jordan Phillips to IR and replace with familiar DT of Commanders practice squad. The Cowboys' defensive line had 1 player go on injured reserve, lost another early in Wednesday's practice, and signed a former player from a divisional rival. All of this occurring less than a week before Baltimore Ravens bringing running back Derrick Henry, quarterback Lamar Jackson, and 300-pound fullback Patrick Rickard at that to A&T Stadium on Sunday. The Cowboys placed Jordan Phillips on injured reserve with a sprained wrist. He'll miss at least 4 games with a potential return after the bye week in mid-October. Phillips said he felt fine, but team officials expect more medical tests to determine the extent of the injury, though it's not serious. Phillips suffered a dislocated right wrist while playing for Buffalo last season. The Cowboys signed defensive tackle Carlos Watkins from the Washington Commanders practice squad as a replacement. Watkins hadn't played in the first 2 games of the season. The third story is the Dallas Cowboys could tie unbelievably bad NFL history with poor defensive showings versus the Ravens. Now maybe the Dallas Cowboys are still paying the price, and consider that the last win we saw from America's team in their home building was a Saturday night victory against the Detroit Lions in a penultimate week of last year's regular season. It was a thrilling win that ultimately wound up deciding who took the 2nd seed in the NFC between Dallas and Detroit, given that the Cowboys drew the Green Bay Packers, who found themselves at the right time, and the Lions got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are impressive but less formidable. It seems to have worked out for that team who lost that particular game, but that Detroit did lose was the subject of much consternation at that moment in time. If you recall, the game was incredibly tight and the Cowboys defense surrendered a drive in the final moments where the Lions appeared on the verge of tying the contest and sending it to overtime. Lions head coach Dan Campbell elected to go for the 2-point conversion and the win, and seemingly got it until a questionable penalty was called against Detroit for one of their linemen failing to report as eligible. We are not here to relitigate that moment or sequence, but maybe it's one for the Dallas Cowboys is still atoning for with respect to performances in their home building. Ever since they have not only lost all their games played at home, but they have been beaten rather soundly in them. As a result of that, they are in company of teams that you do not want to be anywhere near from. The Cowboys are on the verge of tying a very unfortunate mark in NFL history. There are different ways to sort and sift through porous performances on the defensive side of the ball, but given that the winner of a football game is one of those who scores the most points, that will be the point of our analysis in today's discussion. Now, Dallas is coming off a horrific outing when they allowed the New Orleans Saints to drop 44 points on them without really flexing any muscles, as this was the first time that at-home crowd got to see the Cowboys since they were embarrassed in the building by the Green Bay Packers. Seeing what felt like more of the same was rather disheartening. The Packers dropped 48 points in the wildcard round, so the Saints did not quite touch the air that they did. But 48 and 44 points scored against you the last 2 times you played at home is a bit of a tough pill to swallow. Something like that sounds rare, but just how common or uncommon is it? Thanks to our friends at StatHead and Pro Football Reference, we are able to look at this information, and the results are not good.